Okay, so let's have a look at some of the footage from this Techalogic DC-1. Now, I've named some of these to make it quicker and easier for me to show you what we're looking at. But if you look at the file names here, we've got 2020, 1210. They look like a long file name, but that's the year 2020, month, 12th month, 10th day, 15th hour, 2nd minute, 13th second. So it's quite easy to do. Now, I should point out that this is part of the full review of the Techalogic DC-1, which you can see on Bennett's Bike Social. But please remember that this isn't an insurance company trying to encourage people to use head cams. I'm purely reviewing this from an editorial point of view, as I would have done when I worked on Bike, Ride, MSL, MCN. You know, I've used this, and it's just to show you what it's like. And there are a lot of great benefits to these. And the Techalogic obviously is more of a dash cam, action cam hybrid. So let's have a look. So here we've got general scenery. So what I'll do is I'll add some other sound on here. You can probably hear that playing in the background. We're recording my voice while I'm watching the screen. You can hear the wind noise. So I'm going to turn that down now. So if we pause that, you can see the footage is good. It's not GoPro, but you know, this is a 170 odd pound camera with front and rear facing. So we've got cloudy day here. The great advantage of this is, of course, that it's always running, it's always looping. So if you're out with your mates, let's not look at this from the negative connotations of a dash cam. If you're out riding with your mates, you're going to capture everything. But of course, you can see there's a fair bit of shake. So it's not something you're going to want to watch for a long time, but the footage is good. So let's have a look. This is the same sequence, but looking from the back. And you can see, obviously, there's a car behind me there. You can see a good view of the scenery, and if we pause it, you can see a fair bit of compression, see a fair bit of artifacting on it, but again, it's pretty good. And I've got to say, I'm lucky enough to go on press launches, and that means riding anywhere in the world on beautiful roads, but roads you don't know, and there's a lot to concentrate on. And when you're shooting, you're trying to make sure that you capture the things you want to do, and so often something happens, you're like, oh, if only I'd turned the GoPro on at that point. I will be using this on launches from now on. So here we're looking at something with head movement. Again, this is showing how, because the camera's, if we're looking at this from a dash cam's point of view, because the camera's mounted on your head, any movement of the head does blur the image. Okay, going frame by frame. You can see, because I'm waving my head around a little bit, just moving around, makes it difficult to see the plates. Now, in a real situation, as we'll see, you probably will capture the plate, and if you didn't, people are typically still on the scene. If you're looking for a dash cam to be able to shame people and to build up your anger at other drivers, then you're going to struggle, because unless you're in good light, it's hard to get a very good, clear view of a number plate of a vehicle, especially if it's moving towards you. You think, I mean, here I'm doing 30 mile an hour. I assume the car's coming towards me at 30 miles an hour. That's 60 mile an hour closing speed. If you're out on the open roads, you could be looking at 120 mile an hour closing speed. So it's hard to get that good view. If we have a look here, obviously in a situation like this, car's approaching, I'm over to the right side of the road, watching that car, waiting just to make sure they're not going to come out, and they didn't. Obviously, they were watching. It's situations like that that having a dash cam could prove liability if needs be. If we turn the volume up on this clip, you'll be able to hear some of the noise you do get. So let's listen to, we'll hear the buzz now as I press the button. So that was the buzz of it's got a little motor in there, haptic feedback. So under about 50 mile an hour on this unfaired Royal Enfield, you can hear that buzz through your helmet. So here we're going to come across something. This van's not doing anything wrong. You know, I was doing about 50 mile an hour. He wanted to overtake. That's fine. But if we imagine this as a situation where we wanted to record somebody who'd been driving aggressively. So here he comes past me. So if we go frame by frame, again, there's nothing wrong with this. This is a fairly quiet road. There's some entrances to houses on the right, but you can see that they're clear. So he's, you know, it's an okay overtake. I'm doing 50 mile an hour, let's say. You can't Could potentially work out that plate. And then he's gone. So if we have a look at that from the rear. Now here, actually the rear I think is a better view because you've not got your own headlight bleaching stuff out. You can see how my head movement is making that the Ford directly behind me. You can see how that blurs that out, but you get a good shot of it. And it's, you know, this is dusk. It's good footage, especially for the price of this camera and the fact that you're getting a front and rear camera. I am impressed with this. It's got a lot of good uses. If you're thinking you're going to get GoPro footage, you're not. If you're thinking you're going to get a higher spec dash cam, you're not. But you are getting something that is a very good compromise of the two. So we'll just scroll. Here we go. Here comes the van. Okay, you know, he's waiting until he's on the straight. He's seen he's clear. I'm just looking to see if we can see his plate. Okay, not because I'm criticising him, but you can see a lot of the compression artifacts. If you look around where the number plate is, you see those squares. That's the compression of this footage. And I think this footage is more compressed than some. It does a 1 3-minute clip from one camera is 196.1 megabytes. So it's compressing it fairly well. It maybe be nice to see a firmware option to have reduced compression, but you know, there it goes. It's fine. So that was a view from the back. So if we see something at low speed kind of filtering, so this is going through a city, and you can see, you know, if it was a difficult situation, you know, particularly with something like filtering, completely legal, if you were filtering legally and something happened, whether a driver accidentally pulled across you or clipped you or got aggressive, you know, having something like this is going to prove liability. But equally, you know, having something like this, you just know it's always recording. If something cool happens, or you see something interesting, you see a giraffe riding a quad, then, you know, you've caught it. You've always got it. So don't think negatively about this kind of stuff all the time. If we have a look at the rear, so we can see these cars coming up behind. It's all very clear. And, you know, considering it is nighttime now, we were looking at 10th of December, 4:30. It's dark. It was probably dark. Obviously, we've got street lights. A lot of different contrast changes there, but good footage. You know, I'm happy with that. And obviously, if we look at the footage that you probably come here for, so this clip was caught. I pressed the button because I wanted to record going into roundabout about now. So it just happened that it caught this clip. It would have been, this clip would have been in there, and I did press the button afterwards, but it caught the later clip. Obviously, it started a different sequence. But obviously, I would have been able to find this if I wanted to. But it was nice knowing it was saved. So van coming up behind me, he's doing nothing wrong. I'm going to have fuzzed out his face and his number plate. You just trust me. I can read the number plate clearly now. I could see where he was looking. If we look back, again, sorry I fuzzed this out. But if we're honest, this is a mistake a lot of people have made, and it's just unlucky. He didn't manage to stop. He's looking for the gap, and we'll see that in a minute. At this point, he's looking for the gap in the traffic, and there is a huge gap in the traffic in front of us, but the car in front of me isn't moving. He's still looking at the gap in the traffic. I look at the gap in the traffic, look back, and at this point, he's looking straight at me, but there's nothing he could have done. And that's where I went back, and then into the front car. And it hurt, because I twisted my body and caught my ribs on the rear grab bar. So it was just unlucky, a really unlucky situation. It was quite slow. It's quite a slow impact. If we see it from the front, you'll see. And you can see I'm just reaching down to press the button. I'm having to press it there. So I just happened to press the button just as this new segment had started recording. So as we were approaching the roundabout, you can see obviously the traffic's slowing. It's quite a busy roundabout. It's not the best one for accidents. And you can see two cars in front actually. All the cars on the right are going. ours aren't moving for some reason, then I get hit. There's my tail light flying past. And that's it. So if we turn the volume up. I think so.
You want to call me for the ambulance?
Yeah. So the other car hasn't driven off unless it's seen. The other car's just moved forward. Obviously they didn't really know what was going on. This guy got straight out of his car, came and asked for, you know, if I was okay, if I needed an ambulance. But the footage did catch him in. So if we have a look at the audio quality, you could hear my voice clearly. But I think while you could hear what he's saying, that's good. It'd be nice to hear that enhanced a little bit. When I was sat in A&E in the bed, I downloaded the footage to my phone. I knew it was safe, and I was talking to the insurance claims agent. It was nice knowing everything was on camera. And from that point of view, I'd say this worked very well. I hope not to be as thorough in my testing in future, but as a very good mix of a action camera and a dash cam, the Techalogic DC-1 does have some real good advice, so I'd urge you to read the full review. But yeah, given this, I'm glad I had it on, and you know, I hope this has been of some help.